already on ground in Osun State as he leads a delegation of election observers to track and monitor the election. My colleagues are here with me, Uju Ejeye and Mustafa Mohammed. Welcome to the program.
Welcome. Thank you very much, Amit, and welcome to our listeners and viewers.
Thank you very much. Good to join us today.
Okay, let's start off our discourse today with sounds and sights from the statement credited to Senator Francis Fadahunsi, where he was using words that I even find difficult to say on in the studio here, where he's making reference to what will happen to Accord party members on voting day. Take a listen.
Tí a bá tún búrò akọ́ọ̀dù kankan nílé Zambia. Ìbò tá a máa dì í, ìbò ilé ẹ̀rìkọ́ọ̀dù mi ò kẹlẹ̀ sọ́ọ̀tì níbi à. Ìgbà tá a sọ, a ní fìlà burúkú dáńdé, fìlà yẹ́lò fìlà gẹ́ndìsì, fìlà ẹranko, ẹranko ló ń pààyàn. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni. Èló ló ti rí tí APC pa. Abẹ́yẹn ní kọ́ ní gbogbo àwọn ọ̀gá pa yìí. So, àti dé àti wá sọ fún yín. Títí dọjọ́ ìbò tí a bá rí wọn, wọ́n pa ni o. Àwọn ìlú máa ń wò.
Okay, a quick translation to what Senator Fadahunsi said. From now on, whenever you see Accord party members, kill them. I authorize you to kill them. They have wives and children too. This is a federal government election. On election day, even if they come with voters' card, we won't allow them to vote. So after Senator Fadahunsi was forced to clarify that statement in a television interview, he tried to make some clarifications. Let's take a listen.
I didn't say it in English, so you cannot interpret all this in English. I told them, this shows that they are weak. This shows that they cannot win. They should shut them down by their vote. They should kill them by their vote. So anybody that is interpreting in the tip-top here and there, that is his business.
He appears unapologetic.
You see, our leaders think they can ride roughshod over the citizens. I mean, look at even the callous way he was explaining, as if, you know, we don't care. We've already made up our minds what to do. I mean, they say I should clarify. Okay, there you are. If you're not satisfied, that's your business. I mean, who doesn't think he's talking to? He's talking to Nigerians in a society where the electorate actually determine the result of an election. I do not think that this kind of language will go, you know, unconsidered by citizens. I think that he went too far. Whatever point he was trying to make, except, of course, if he actually meant that they should be killed. He can't come and tell us that whoever is interpreting, we understand Yoruba language. What does that mean? Anywhere we see them, it is killing.
Daniel, is that from where?
Killing.
Is that from where we extracted that word? Buy.
Yeah,
I'll buy you.
I wouldn't know that. I wouldn't know that. I mean, you know, my worry brethren have a way.
Yes.
With, you know.
Okay, maybe said, that one originated from Wafi area.
Wafi, we have our special languages, you know. So it said, Ibiki bitabari woni, Ibiki bitabari won quick new. In other words, anywhere you see them, now he's saying, he said, kill Accord. Accord is not plural in nature. You can't say tabari won. One means more than one person or one thing. So I think that people like him, politicians like him, who think that politics is a do-or-die affair and that you have to employ anything, including ungodly ways, in order to get to power, should go and have the fear of God. Let God touch their conscience. because we can't keep playing politics like this. That's what has become the bane of our society, to the point that we can't get credible people to lead us. We have all manner of people, charlatans, talks, becoming political leaders in Nigeria, where there are credible, decent men.
Now, if you say they should fear God, are we leaving it to divinity to deal with? Don't we have security agencies? Don't we have security agencies that will put him in, question him, and consider
even
possible
from that place where he was?
Since that thing happened, we have not heard any report of any invitation by any security agency. Coming at a time, Labour Party members in Osun State have been arrested in scores, in their huge numbers, and moved hundreds of kilometers away to Abuja. Yeah. Perhaps, I don't know what the security agencies will do today. I don't think we should leave it to divinity. Let God deal with the situation. Let them fear God.
I'm saying let them have the fear of God, because I believe that if you have the fear of God, whether as a security agent or whatever, you will do what you are mandated to do. There are fears, and fears that are not unfounded, that we may not get the kind of result we need from the security agents. Look at, from where he was talking, ideally in a sane society, he should be picked up, or picked up even an hour or two latest after that kind of incisive statement. But nothing has happened, and nothing may happen.
And he knows he will not be picked up.
And then if you go back to the other election too that you were part of, you will understand what I am saying. Remember, it was almost like this, except that this one has exceeded a bit, and nothing happened to date. Even those who perpetrated violence that were captured vividly, nothing happened. Let us hope that the security agencies will stop letting this country down during elections. They should not be complicit in whatever happens, in any illegality or perpetration of violence. Even if we cannot do anything, there is a higher being who takes note and who will deal with every man according to his sins at the right time.
I disagree with the submission that we pray to God to touch their heart.
We resign to faith.
Let me tell you something. This is where we get it. This is where we get it wrong in Nigeria. Look at our underdevelopment, for example. Let me chip in this quick. With all the natural human resources, population, which is a big market, and intellect, instead of building factories, we are building churches and mosques, going to Jerusalem and Mecca every time. How does that solve our problem? Coming back to, God will not come down to here in Nigeria to solve our problem, because he has given us the capacity. Coming back to the issue of Osun State, the unfortunate statement by the senator and his rude and arrogant manner in which he tried to defend what he said. It's only in Nigeria that you try to call for the killing of your fellow beings and citizens like Boko Haram, ISWAP bandits are doing, and nothing will happen to you. Let me give you an example. When Apostle Dan Suleiman is still on the internet on YouTube, spoke about, if you see Fulani, kill them. He went into hiding. But even when he came out, I don't think he was arrested or prosecuted. Sani Jingir, this sheikh that a few days ago disparaged Christians, tried to flare up tensions, insulted the Nigerian Christians who have divine book, go to church. He was calling them pagan. And apparently, Yahya Jingir doesn't even understand the provisions of the Islamic religion about Christianity, Judaism, and even those who follow non-divine religion. Has he been arrested? No. And then this senator's own, unfortunately, is number 3. He has not been arrested, which also means that other people will use the public space, call for killing and destruction of humans, and nothing will happen to them. And then here, our security agents are there, they will pretend that they are trying to enforce the law. This is where they will start enforcing the law firstly. Pick up those people, take them to court and prosecute. Let them defend themselves. If any crisis erupts in Osun with the kind of statement this man has made, how are you going to defend it?
Are you sure crises have not erupted? Because
there has been
what
crisis.
we have already, a number of deaths, we are computing the numbers. Because a group in Osun State, the Justice and Peace Initiative, has been putting numbers together, and we share a screenshot of the election violence we have already seen in Osun State. And it cuts across all parties. It's not the ruling party, it's not the opposition party, it's all of them.
No, but
it's not just
some are more arrogant than the others.
Yes, take a look at this screenshot. Alleged political parties' involvement in reported cases of violence tracked by this group. Accord Party, 38%. APC, 48% leading. Others, 14%. And from the figures we have, about 18 persons have already been killed in Osun State in the run-up to this election. And the question is, how many people will you kill? Because you want to be in government house in Osogbo, how many people will you kill? That's the question.
And most of these people don't have anything to offer. And like Mustafa said, it's because of the way we gloss over things like this as a nation. Okay, if you recall when some Mieti Allah people accepted, that they were the ones who perpetrate certain measures of violence and killings. Nothing still happened. And so why would such things not continue? And why would our politicians not get away with it? Even when you catch them in action during elections, perpetrating acts of violence, perpetrating rigging and other forms of crimes, nothing happens. Even the security agents right there will look at you as if, why are you making noise? Because in most cases, some of them have been settled. Okay. They have been settled. So nothing, until we begin to fear God. I'm still saying it because it is the fear of God that will make you to do the right thing. Until we begin to know that this life, after all, at the end of it all these things, we will not carry them beyond this world. Then we will begin to respect fellow human lives.
In Nigeria, we only think about God when it comes to prosperity. My God is not a poor God and you can't be poor. But the truth of the matter is God will never come down to give you the money or make you live in peace. It's your own action you have to do. And it's not just in Osun State now that the general election is approaching. 2 days ago, we learned, unfortunately, the wife of one of the governorship candidates in Lafia was attacked. Her car was smashed. Is that how we are going to approach the next general election? And of course, you may not know what is being planned or what is happening in other, things that will be happening in other states of the Federation. The Inspector General of Police, Disu, who is very capable, I think need to double up his efforts. The director...
He needs to summon up courage.
Yes, the
DG, to do the right thing.
Department of State Security should use his people to gather a lot of intelligence. People in the communities should inform both the police and the Department of State Security. It's supposed to be a collective responsibility to gather both intelligence, make information available. Of course, the security agents, you don't expect them to be spirits or angels that they will know everything that is being. But don't forget the fact that this is the same politician that will buy daggers, sticks, wheat, and finance these talks for their own advantage.
I expected the senator in that clarifications to apologize profusely and said, perhaps I went over.
Drop on his knees.
And said, forgive me, henceforth I'll be an ambassador of peace and no to election violence. But he clearly showed arrogance.
He was very callous.
In that clarification.
And that, of course, would also tell you that they have made up their minds what they want to do before and during the elections. I'm really worried about even the election eve.
And this is how you build up to calamity. When you can do it and get away with it, your opponents will be forced to resort to self-help. Where the security agencies fail to do the needful, the opponents will now say, okay, I won't leave it to God like Uju is praying. I will help myself. That's how it stands. So we call on the security agencies to do the needful. They should know that their loyalty is to the Nigerian state and not to anybody, any political party, and save the sheep of our democracy. If Senator Fadahunsi is not held to account in Nigeria, I can promise you outside the shores of the country, he will be held to account. The United States, the European Union, they have this policy of denying visas to those politicians
freezing accounts
that propagate violence. So I can assure you that that senator may not visit United States again.
I think
honestly be allowed to gain entry into the European Union. If the Nigerian security agencies fail to do the needful, we trust foreign countries to do so. Let's take a break. Okay. When we come back, we'll hope to have our guest who's already in Osun State, Bukola Idowu, Executive Director, Kimpact Development Initiative, join us to tell us the situation on ground. Do stay with us.
The stories now break online. Don't miss anything from our real-time updates and exclusive content. Follow and participate in discussions on live TV studio programs to shape the narratives. Subscribe, engage, and share from AIT.live at AIT_online on X, AIT Online on Facebook, Official AIT Live on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads on YouTube. Stay connected with AIT. On air, online, on live.
Get ready for a bold new chapter in political discourse. The conversations that matter most are stepping into the spotlight like never before. Political platform, the hard-hitting, no-holds-barred program you have trusted on Ray Power Radio is making a powerful move to television. Tune in to Africa Independent Television, AIT, as political platform debuts on your screen, bringing deeper analysis, sharper debates, and the voices shaping our nation's future right into your screens. From policy and politics breakdowns to real-time discussions with key stakeholders, this is more than a program. It is where opinions are tested. Truths are on.
The manner of governance by APC, the manner of governance by Accord, has unnecessarily and unduly triggered undue interest of non-state actors in the political process. And we do know that some of these state actors, they have history of violence. We have lots of information about the number of killings. In some quarters, we even have a political party that said from their members alone, over 30 people have been killed. We have even report also from the Nigerian police force that over 30 people have died already in Osun State. But for us, it is disturbing that an important stakeholder like the Nigerian police force is going to make that kind of statement, and there is no public record of the places where those over 30 deaths took place. The names of individuals that died, we do not have them. We do think that this manner of communication or this communication strategy of the Nigerian police force is something that needs real improvements.
Input is from Justice and Peace Initiative, and welcome our guest virtually. He joins us from Osogbo in Osun State. Bukola Idowu, Executive Director, Kimpact Development Initiative. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. It's good to be with you again this morning.
I also know that Kimpact Development Initiative is tracking violence and number of people killed so far in Osun State in the run-up to this election. Let's start from there.
Very unfortunate, and I think it's not it's a data that we is not to be celebrated. As I'm talking to you, with election violence in Osun State, documented with the date, with the time, and with the location. The number of perpetrators, and then in terms of the perpetrators, and then number of the deaths that have been recorded. We have, as of this morning, have recorded over 32 cases, deaths, directly linked to the election. And I'm not talking about criminality. I am talking about direct election-related deaths. 32 have been recorded. And that is so unfortunate. Do you even know that in Elisha Axis, 3 people died yesterday?
After that, before or after the statement by the senator?
The attack.
And that was his target area.
In Elisha yesterday. So, and that is the atmosphere at which we are expecting election in Osun. Don't forget.
Just to clarify, Elisha is where Senator Fadahunsi made that statement about killing.
Absolutely.
And three people were killed there yesterday.
Made that statement yesterday. Now, Senator Fadahunsi made that statement, addressed the people in front of the palace of the king of Elisha. That is the center of the town of Elisha. That was where he made that statement. Very close, if you know that place, the king palace is at the center of the town and a major market is there. So where he addressed the people is just in front of the king's palace, the popular, so it's so unfortunate. This is what we are having in Osun at the moment. That is what the data is saying.
The concept of electoral violence and threats did not start today. If you can remember, at the previous election, before Muhammadu Buhari won his election, he made a threat. Dogs and baboons are going to fight dirty. And you
can extend back to Olusegun Obasanjo, do or die affair.
Do or die affair. And we have seen post-election violence when Muhammadu Buhari lost that very election. But however, in several other states, there were politicians, governors forming political talks. We are talking about Endaba, Tharasuka, Ekomog, Nkalare. Some of these governors who formed those groups are still there, even though they have left office, and other governors have taken them over. How do you think we can overcome this deliberate action of political thuggery, killings, maiming, and what have you during election?
So one of the things we have done is to really dig into what is really causing this, most especially in Osun, as we move into the Osun State election. Number one, you need to understand the context around this election in Osun State. Number one is that Osun State has, in the southwest, one of the largest concentration of court members are in Osun State. That is one thing you need to know. Now, so you now have like about different fashions of courts in Osun State, even outside the election. These are the people that fight naturally. They fight the rival group. They keep fighting. So what has happened and what has escalated this beyond into the election is that the politicians, the political party, now begin to infiltrate these court people, and then the court people now begin to declare alliance to one political party or the other. So what you now have in Elisha, in Osogbo, Olorunda axis, is that courts that are loyal to a court party, you have them. Courts that are loyal to APC, you have them. So, and these are the people that are being used. Now, proliferation of arms in Osun, Osogbo, to be specific, and Elisha axis is also high. So what you have is that you have court members who are ready and the politicians have infiltrated. So you now have court people now being loyal to political party. In fact, to shock you, in some instances, political parties and politicians infiltrated some of these court groups, and what happened is that the court group, even a single court group, are now factionalized. So just like we now have factional leader of this, factional leader of this, still they are also factionalized. The same court group are now factionalized to one political party and the other political party.
So what is the reaction of the security agencies to this?
To the extent that they are factionalized, even loyalty to politicians.
How are the security agents reacting to all of this?
Now, we presented this data, the findings, to the security agencies. They said they are on top of it. They said some people have been arrested. However, till yesterday, they are still shooting. People are still being killed. And then you keep saying people have been arrested.
Can you give locations?
He said 3 people killed in
Yes,
Elisha.
yes. Can you give can you give locations of some of these hotspots? Can you give location, or is it only in Elisha and Oshogbo?
No, I am coming to that. The people that were killed yesterday were from Imo. This incident happened in Imo, Elisha, moving to Okesha in Elisha. So that is what you have. Now, the other dimension, before I mention the other hotspot, is that I hope you know there are a lot of illegal mining in Elisha.
Yes.
Elisha is rich in gold, and they've started mining.
So there is probably proliferation of arms.
There are proliferation of arms because of the illegal mining, and some of the mining industries too also employed some of these non-state actors, cultists, and the people that have arms to guide them. So they settle them to guide them. So what happened? These are the people that are being used for election. Now, the last thing that are causing some of these things that I just want to say, aside some of these, is that the politicians in Osun State have seen this election as Baba Obasanjo just said, do or die. Number one, the narrative is that the APC feel like, look, we need to take the state for 2 reasons. They feel that will signal a lot of acceptance or to validate their popularity for the general election coming in January. Number 2, they feel that this is the home of the president. You need to look at that.
Yes.
That the president should not be embarrassed again. And see, then, so a lot of interests. Then number 3 is that the Accord Party feel that, look, we cannot lose this election by all means. So what you have now is that you have a situation where everybody is charged and really prepared for an election. And they are not approaching the election as a civic affair. They are approaching it as if they are going for a war.
Is that why Governor Adeleke yesterday made reference to himself as a bulldozer? Perhaps he also needs to clarify that statement, because I know what bulldozer does.
Destruction.
It's destruction.
So let's tell ourselves the truth. One of the, and I have said it severally, if Osun election is going to be peaceful, it's going to be how the security agencies
handle it,
react to some of these things. Number 1, a sitting senator made that unfortunate statement. As I'm talking to you now, I am in Osun State. The man is still in his house.
He's still in?
No arrest. He's still in his house.
Okay, what we have, a viewer just sent notes to us. He was making reference to, we used to know rivers as rivers of blood when it comes to election, but now it appears it has shifted to Osun State, Osun of killings and deaths. But he's telling us that he heard from a sister station, the PRO of the police in Osun State, that Senator Fadahunsi has been invited by Osun State Police Command.
That is so. I mean, the invitation. Let's look at it this way. Invitation. I agree. That's why I said, as I'm talking to you, he's still in his house. But I am happy that he has been invited. Maybe he will go there. That is number 1. However, you have a sitting governor that said, I am the bulldozer. And nobody is telling him to clarify that particular statement. So what I am trying to say is this. You see, the perception of election is about perception. If the security agencies are not neutral in this election, I can tell you that the kind of violence we will deal with, post-election violence we will deal with in this election may be high. And I think they have to be up and doing. Now, the best thing to do is the moment they made that statement, you don't even need wait for it to trend, because security agencies were there when he was making that statement. They were there. They were guiding them. Because it was a protest. They protested to go and see the king. And so what they need to do is that, why are we waiting for him to have a dignified invitation.
All right, sir. Let me ask you here. He made that statement, the sitting senator made that statement in front of the Oba's palace. Now, the Oba as a father of the people, are you aware if he had any reaction to that statement? And what are the traditional rulers doing at this point in time? What role are they playing?
So, you see, Osun State as it is now, from the findings, is that peace architecture is not that strong in Osun State as it is. Now, the perception survey we did is that people believe more now in the religious institution than the traditional institution. And their reason is that all the traditional rulers in Osun State have one affiliation to one political party or the other. Now, let me give you an example. We have seen Timi of Ede coming out to openly support the governor. Of course, the governor is from Ede.
Yes.
And was making some insightful statement about another king. In fact, let me quote what he said. He said, I am expecting them to come to my palace. If they come, I want to know if they are going to get a blessing from me or a curse. And he was talking about the opposition. That is the king of Ede. Now, you also have the king Akire of Ikire, where the candidates of APC came out to make another insightful statement. So you now begin to see that, don't also forget, even the referred Oni of Ife was in Abuja some weeks ago, where he endorsed President Tinubu, and he went viral, and he said, President Tinubu is really trying for Nigeria. So when you come to Osun State, the people, the word of the traditional rulers have not been, is not that weighty, because the people believe
but I saw videos of Dioni receive Adeleke and his supporters and kind of place his hands on their head, suggesting that he may be receptive of everybody.
He received everybody. I am not saying, let me make it clear. I am not saying that for the politics in Osun State, he has endorsed anybody. No. For the politics in Osun State, he has not. I am not saying that.
Okay.
There is no record of that. But I am saying that he came to the national stage and endorsed Tinubu.
But even the governor of Osun State has also endorsed Tinubu.
Has also endorsed Tinubu. So what I am trying to say is that, so when you look at the landscape of the traditional rulers, they are also, distributed across political party lines. And then you also see traditional rulers technically supporting the people contesting from their constituency, from their senatorial district, and from their town. So you see, it's a bit dynamic. And I think that is why in the rating of the kind of respect and the people that can call people to order, is that people prefer more, they have more respect for the religious body than the traditional ruler.
Okay.
They have more respect for the religious body more than even the security agencies. So this is the dynamic situation now.
Let's raise another important issue trailing this Osun election. The issue of beavers, the bimodal voter accreditation system, the device that will be used. We were told by INEC that it's still running on an old operating system, Android 10. Now, there are concerns. Atiku Abubakar raised this concern recently, that there was need for INEC to have upgraded that version, because that version is vulnerable to cyber attacks and manipulation and all that. From what you have been finding out in Osun State and INEC's role in all this, how would this play out in this election? INEC resorts to use of a beavers device running an old, and perhaps what some people said, I don't know whether it's true, I'm not an expert on that, an outdated vulnerable operating system. The fear is that it creates room for election manipulation, especially in results transmission and all that.
Okay, thank you very much for bringing this up. You know, we are the one that first of all escalated this issue, raised the concern. In fact, in our own statement, we said we are afraid they might be running on Android 7. And because when we look at their the manual they use and the screenshots they did there, it was actually an interface of Android 7. But when they went back to do, they have the right of reply, and they said, look, they are running on Android 10. Even Android 10, is Android 10 security patches was released last in 2019. Security patches for Android 10 was released in 2019. Now, as I'm talking to you, we are already in Android 17. INEC is still running on Android 10. So, which is already, and now what triggered this is that if you look at the mock accreditation that was conducted in Osun State, where the chairman came, the mock accreditation at the initial state failed. If people were not able to be accredited, later they now said, okay, yeah, something is wrong. Now in 1 hour, I think they upgraded, but the national chairman came and said in his, I don't know, you will have that clip because your reporter was there, said, oh, the challenge they have was as a result of old cards. The new cards were working. So that made us to be curious. Number one, Beaver doesn't scan card. What exactly is going on? And in our finding, we find out that the problem might be with the Android version they are using. So, in a nutshell, what I am saying is this. That Android version, we have a lot of issues on the election. And I think they should, by now, be able to correct it. What are the issues you are likely going to face? Number one is accuracy of fingerprint. You may not have it. Accuracy of fingerprint. So, number two, accuracy of the facials will be more than the fingerprint. And when I say it will be more, it can even malfunction to the moment you see a face, it may not be able to link it to say directly, this is your face. But if you see a face, it will accredit it. Now, that is a low point I want you to see. And I hope that is not the reason why politicians are buying PVC or they are hijacking PVC. In Osun State, they hijack PVC in Oduotin. And the national chairman has come out to say people will use downloadable PVC. So how that will play out is another thing we are about looking at. But in a nutshell, for Osun to have a peaceful election is not resting on on political party. It's resting on two major actors. Number one, security agency, their neutrality. Number two, the excellent process INEC will put in place. If these two are not in place, it's a potential for violence and failure in this election. And it will trigger a lot of things as we approach 2027.
But from what, I quite agree with you there, but from what you have seen, I don't know if you've monitored elections in Osun State in the past and seen the reactions of the security agencies. And what we're seeing now, you know, that those who have been making incisive statements are not even being picked up. You talk about an invitation when a man should be arrested. I don't know how they interpret it. I'm not a security agent. Do you actually see them actually doing their work on that day? Because I don't know if you monitored elections, you would notice that there was a time, even while the thugs and political agents were stopping voters who were not their party members from coming to vote, the security agents stood by and watched, and nothing was done.
So you are referring to 2018 election? I observed 2018 election, I was part of the people that was arrested to say we are fake observer because they did not allow us to go to Orolu, where supplementary election was being conducted.
Even AIT crew was prevented from accessing that area for supplementary election. The security agencies did not want election observers and media have access to that place.
Exactly, absolutely. Because I remember that we were picked and then we were prevented also with some other media organizations. So that is what is at the past. But let me tell you, you see, we have interacted with a lot of stakeholders and we have conducted our research, and from the past experience, we have seen how it went to. And we have raised concern. In fact, as I'm talking to you, after this interview, we have another closed-door meeting. I mean, Kimpat have another closed-door meeting with the security agencies where we want to give them the updated information and what they should be able to respond to. Now, as it is now, let me tell you, Accord Party really want to win at the first ballot because they don't, look at this statement carefully, they don't want to be a defendant. I mean, they don't want to be a petitioner.
In the election tribunal.
At the election tribunal. That tells you somehow it's going to be do or die. Because they know that the moment they are a petitioner, look at 2018, that they may likely lose out. So it's better to be a defendant for them to be a petitioner. Now, APC also want to win. This and you remember, I think President Goodluck Jonathan this morning and former President Obasanjo already talked about winner takes it all, which may not help our politics. And that is what it means, because if Accord lose this election, that the winner takes it all, they have lost entirely. It's not like it's representative that you can say, okay, you can still nominate to the cabinet. Okay. No, they've lost, and their members,
so the stakes are very high.
Okay.
The stakes are really high. Both ways.
Okay, so I think we have to thank you so much, Bukola Aido, Executive Director, Impact Development Initiative, for your time and the insights you have brought out on the issue of the beavers. We hope INEC will upgrade to Android 17 before 2017 elections.
They cannot upgrade to Android 17.
Why?
They cannot,
Why do you think
because
that way?
the hardware they are using cannot accommodate it.
Wow.
So it's more like you want to pour new wine into an old wineskin. So if they want Android 17, they will have to buy new set of beavers. That is the situation we are in now in this country. That somebody will go and procure election beavers and in 2019 or 2020, and then we not be able to accommodate most of these. Hardware of beavers cannot take Android 17. So this is the best they can do.
Okay. Another revelation. Thank you so much, Bukola Aido, for your time. We do appreciate it. In the course of the election, perhaps on election day, we'll appreciate if you join our live election coverage studio, because AIT is planning massive deployment to ensure that all that happened in Osun State on election day and even the next day is brought to the homes and offices of Nigerians. We hope to have you also join us. Thank you so much for joining us.
And do be careful. Do be careful.
Thank you.
You have to be careful so that we don't add to the 32 dead already. I asked earlier,
we are.
how many people do they want to kill in Osun State because of the fact that they want to be in the government house? Let's hear from you now as we go into our feedback segment. Remember, you can send mails to our email platform, politicalplatform@dargroup.com, and we'll have some who have harvested. The first one is coming from Chief Mwamadu from Imo State. He says he rise to commend Malam Mohammed Nuru, who was live on Political Platform on Tuesday, August 11, to help douse the tensions generated by Sheikh Jingiri in his infamous speech where he told the world his personal opinions on who owns Nigeria and the reasons why Nigeria must be governed by Muslim candidates. I salute notable Nigerian political, ethnic, and religious elites who have risen up to condemn such comments by Sheikh Jingiri in a pluralistic, multi-ethnic, and multi-religious country as Nigeria. But my worry is the endorsement, cheering, clapping, and hugging of Sheikh Jingiri by the 3 sitting governors present in that occasion. and I urge those governors to stand up and address Nigerians. The next one is from Dixon Eka from Abuja, and he says, the level of political hooliganism and threats in the build-up to Osun state governorship election is alarming. It's very dangerous for a sitting senator to openly tell his followers to kill members of another political parties if they see them near any polling unit in his constituency. Even when he was asked to tell his supporters to be peaceful and law-abiding on a national television, he refused and threatened retaliation. This is a case of a lawmaker becoming a lawbreaker, and this calls to question the ideology of the current man at the top. This is what you get when the president abandoned governance for politics of, by all means, democracy is not practiced this way. Even the military dictators will not ask publicly the opposition figures should be killed outrightly.
And then we have Anusion Ugochukwu from Lagos. He says, the three main contenders for Osun gubernatorial election are from Osun West. The votes will be decided by Osun East and Central. Whilst I'm not in love with the performance of the current governor, I believe he will win. Former Governor Yetola was from Osun West. That means that Osun West will do 16 years if a new man emerges. Governor Michael Jackson Adeleke has concentrated some of his works in Ede, his hometown. This raises a question about the powers that are bestowed upon governors. The lesson here is that there is no shout about zoning and competence. It's all about interest. As the campaign ends tomorrow, I urge Osun people not to die for the interests of one man or party. They value your votes and don't value you. The police should be forthright and protect all voters. Next one from Omolayo John from Orozo, Abuja. It says, Osun senator that ordered citizens to kill themselves because of governorship election must have a rethink. It's time for Nigerian citizens to reason without being used by politicians to kill and destroy themselves. They use their money to keep their children abroad and buy weapons for citizens to destroy themselves. It is well. And Laji Agbas from Ida local government area that should be in Kogi State says, a few days ago, Dr. Amechi Anakwe reminded us of the stand of Cardinal Onayekun after the 2023 general elections, that he wouldn't recognize Bola Ahmed Tinubu as president and commander-in-chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria until his election victory was confirmed by the courts. If we want to ask, were the victories of former President OBJ in his first and second terms or those of his successors subjected to such a standard of recognition? I'm not aligned with self-serving politicians or governance. However, Nigeria can only move forward when we stop addressing hypocrisy as holiness, when religious and sectional sentiments are set aside by traditional leaders and religious institutions.
Thank you so much for the mails into our email platform, political platform at darkgroup.com, from our YouTube live stream, that's at Repa Abuja. Drissa Tech, from his name, it appears as if he's a tech digital expert. He says, as an individual, I can't even buy a gadget or smartphone with Android version below 15 for my small kids, let alone version 10. This is a disgrace to our nation. Bukalaido telling us that INEX device is running on Android 10. That comes with a lot of problem, that we should go for the Android 17. We hope that this election, during the last election, it was IREF. We hope it will not be BVAS and it's the issue of the operating system.
And they should just go and update, like Bukola Idowu said.
He said you should get a new one, so that you can't even upgrade.
Yes, that they can't even add anything to this one because it can't carry, oh, God help me, I need to go and learn again. All right, we have just this one from Daniel Singh, former NANS president. It says, it has, I think he's in Osun State, it has suddenly become a means to settle scores amongst cult groups in the state. This is majorly because of political patronage. Scores are dying, and including innocent people that are attacked daily. This must stop immediately.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll come back tomorrow. That will be Thursday for another edition. We promise you on Saturday, African Independent Television will give you total coverage of the election. But before then, we'll be giving you updates of things as they happen. My name is Amici, and on behalf of my colleagues Ujueje and Mustafa Mohammed, have a good day.